Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to The Next Level, conversations that propel business. I am your host, Stephen Nooner.
And I'm your other host, Bob Gibbons. And we're excited today to have a guest with us by the name of Jonathan Van. And Jonathan is the COO of Technium. And Technium is a startup committed to transforming the way research and patents are translated into actual products. So I'm anxious to hear about that. They've been around since 2014, so pretty new. And they're based here in Dallas. And welcome, Jonathan. Glad you're here.
Welcome. Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, we always like to start off with the wisdom of others, and you provided a quote, but honestly, I saw
Stephen didn't
one.
like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It didn't make the cut.
But I found another one that I liked that was affiliated with you. On your website, it said, if you show people the problems and you show them the solution, they will be moved to act. And that is by Bob's hero, Bill Gates, the most purpose-driven entrepreneur that Bob knows.
Very nice.
So that goes to another show.
Oh, that does go to another show. So why do you like that, Stephen? Why did that one make the cut?
Well, I just liked it more than I'm just kidding.
You're just easily pleased?
I'm easily pleased. No, I just, a lot of times, like we show our work that's one of the reasons people will hire us is because a lot of people in our space will say, here's what it is, take it. Well, we'll say, here's our recommendation, here's all the work, not that you even want to see it, but just so you know that proper due diligence was done. Mm-hmm. But we still have to make it, even when you show the work, you have to do it in such a way that you make it simple, or people won't, it's too much information, they won't make a decision.
Right.
So anyway, I thought it was pretty cool when you simplify complexity. You find a problem, simplify the complexity. People are encouraged to take action.
See, I'm not quite as I don't have that much confidence in the human race. I think a lot of people are moved to action, but I think there's an awful lot of people that are not, and a lot of people are. They know what they should do, but they still don't do it.
Are you going theological on this?
There's a small percentage, right? I mean, in the business we're in, we work with entrepreneurs, and I think the biggest thing is that they focus their time and attention on the problem first, right? Like the Abe Lincoln quote, if I had like 5 minutes to solve something, I'd spend 4 minutes of it thinking about the problem.
Yeah.
Like that's the same thing. Like I've seen too many entrepreneurs, like you said, go straight into like, here's what I'm going to do to fix something, but I don't really have a good understanding of the problem. And so that's why the Bill Gates quote is like, problem, solution, then if you can corral people around that, at least they have a clear vision and purpose.
And problem too, you said, so that's also the key, right? Because so often I see when we get introduced to people, I mean, they're working on the problem. They might even be working with someone to be working on the problem. But what I really find out when I talk to them is they're really working on the symptom of the problem.
Yes.
So it's like something downstream and there's something else that they haven't even caught on to yet.
All right, before we get too brainiac in this conversation, Jonathan, tell us something about yourself that most people don't know.
I was a varsity wrestler. People know that.
You were a varsity wrestler?
Yes, varsity wrestler. After I just wrestled junior year, so I started like midway through my high school career, mostly because all my friends after school said, wow, I think I died after practice, just literally fainted after school. And I was like, I like the idea of wrestling, but I'll never do it. So one day my friend said, I already told the coach you're coming to practice, and locked me in, went to practice, threw up the first time, but fell in love with the sport, got to varsity. But I was in this very weird gray area where I could win gold medals in all the JV stuff, but not win very many varsity matches. So I made varsity, but didn't have the experience. That's something people don't know. So people know I made varsity, but not that I didn't have a great track record. Yeah. No, I wrestled, but man, I lost a lot.
Well, sometimes it's better to be a big fish in a small pond than the other way around. I understand there's one other quick thing about you that a lot of people don't know, and that you something about you have a special friend that was like a beauty queen and
Yeah, my girlfriend's Miss Nebraska. She's been in pageants since she was about 16, so late for the game, but really blossomed. I'm really lucky. I'm Mr. Nebraska. She competed in Miss USA last year in Baton Rouge. Very controversial time, to say the least.
Yeah.
If anyone remembers that, things are definitely 180ing around 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely things that
Very
people
cool.
did not see. Yeah.
So tell us about Technium a little bit. What is it that you guys do, and what's the value within, to...
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Technium's building a platform that makes it the easiest place for entrepreneurs to find and license IP. So my co-founder was the director of commercialization at University of Texas, University of Utah, and the best strategy we found was not this old school licensing, like license it to Pfizer or whatever. It was, let's get these technologies in the hands of entrepreneurs. And so we thought to ourselves, it takes 6 months, 12 months usually to get a license done. Mm-hmm. With what we've built, it takes about 100 days. And so that's the speed entrepreneurs need to work at. That's actually the speed even corporations ask. Like, my co-founder was on a panel at a industry conference, and he said, talking to some drug companies, talking to engineering companies, how fast do you want a license to get done? They said, well, under 100 days is like after that, like, we kind of don't think about it. Ask the people in the group who come from all universities, their job is to manage the technologies. Say, how many of you can get it done in 100 days? 0 hands. This is a room of 200 people. Universities across the United States. 6 months, a couple more hands raised. 6 to 12, a lot more hands raised. But you're like, the disparity between what industry needs to get these deals done, mm-hmm. and what they can provide is so far. And so we built the platform and the standardized documents to get it done in 100 days.
So simplifying this just for people that are
Sure.
kind of new that this even exists, right? So universities have technology, right?
Yeah.
So, or is it just universities? Is it just anyone who develops technology?
Universities,
period?
hospitals. It's the basic inventor, right? You have doctors who have ideas. They hit a frustration during surgery. They hit a frustration during treatment, and they say, "Well, I have an idea."
Right.
Now, how do they? They're full-time doctors. Who are they going to work with? There are plenty of entrepreneurs who are also struggling to find problems. They have the passion. They even might have the capital. I found plenty of entrepreneurs who have the capital, but they don't have the idea. And that's actually how I started, because I'm not a big idea guy. I just said, well, I love working with entrepreneurs, inventors. I love helping them bring things to market. Mm-hmm. But how can we do this faster? There's
so you're basically creating a marketplace where people that have the patents and mm-hmm. the technology or whatever, and the people that need those come to transact and find each other.
Yeah, find each other and bring those ideas to market.
So how do they find each other now?
So today, some people go to like demo days or pitch days at universities. Sometimes it's a friend of a friend, kind of old school. Might find each other on different social networks, but it's pretty fragmented. There are some brokers. It's just kind of all over.
So I can't just go to like the U.S. Patent Office and do a search?
You can, but what information do you get out of that, right? Who do you connect to? You might connect to the inventor. Are they the owner? You don't know. There's just a lot of pieces of information missing around, is this patent valuable? What other patents around this matter, right? So if I'm looking for a drug, vaccine, medical device, I want to build a very high value company. You want to find the top 10 patents. And then the question is, how do you license all of those versus just that one? Because the one patent itself is nominal. 10 exponentially increases the value of your company. You own that space now. I know plenty of companies who just went out and licensed 10 patents, worked with the top 5 people in the world, researchers, and they literally own that space. Like, no one else could work on that science. And so that's the way we see that exponential value gets created, is just aligning all the parties. All the ingredients are there, right? People complain there's like not enough capital, not enough this. Most of it's there. But it's just, how do you put that all into, how do you put the ingredients together to create a wonderful meal, not just having little ingredients here and there?
Yeah, it seems like it's really fragmented. It seems like the timing is perfect for this because of exponential technologies. I mean, it just seems like there's constant innovation now, and it's like, how do you even know, really what's on the horizon. How would you connect with it?
Yeah, corporations are asking themselves this every day, right? They're saying, how do we disrupt ourselves? How do we move to the next level? What are the...
If they're not, they need to be asking.
Right,
it.
like Facebook is making the next wave, right? They're saying we're focusing on these three things with a lot of clarity, but they know that the actual how means building a plane that deploys internet using lasers and some other advanced technologies, like things you have never seen before, but it all powers back to their basic business model of get people on the internet, get people on Facebook. But there's a lot of engineering and a lot of science that goes behind that simple mission.
So what are there particular verticals that you guys work within primarily, or is it anything?
So predominantly it's medical technologies.
Okay.
Because about 60% of federally funded research, it goes into healthcare. But we're flexible. We've seen things that go into engineering, that go into different kinds of verticals, but health tech, med tech, vaccines are just because that's where most of the dollars are.
Are you guys doing anything with AI yet, or
Yeah, we've looked at that. Yeah, that's one of
the
the biggest things. I was like, wow, we should host some competition for like chatbots or something, just because they're the hottest thing. I actually saw a technology in Austin that's 30 years in the making, and they finally, now the AI is hot again, they finally raised some money and hit their peak. So yes, we are looking at kind of the hottest things: robotics, AI, and connectivity in general.
So who would be your ideal client?
So an ideal client right now is a serial entrepreneur, and I'll tell you why. Serial entrepreneurs usually have a good understanding of where they want to go. They have a vision. They also understand how to operationalize something very quickly. Mm-hmm. And when you put a serial entrepreneur and a proven technology together, raising the money for it, getting everything else in place is actually really easy. And so that's the fastest way to get something signed in 100 days too for us, is that we go to the office and say, hey, we found these few technologies. We're working with this bankable entrepreneur. He has this, this stable of investors. Let's get this license done. As much as they may or may not like it, some of the tech transfer offices will get it done because the pressure is already there. So serial entrepreneurs are the people we want to work with. They're bankable. They understand the space typically because they're industry specialists. And they end up building a company that's high value really fast.
That makes sense. Real quick, just what's the biggest personal sacrifice you've had to make to get this up and running?
Yeah, so I got this up and running in the middle of school, mm-hmm. And so we kind of incubated it inside a job that I had previously at Alta Ventures, and because of some internal politics, literally the week of graduation, they were like, "Yeah, we can't pay you anymore." And I was like,
"Okay,
that sucks." The week of graduation. So I went 12 months without pay to work on this problem. And the reason I stayed with it for 12 months was because I knew at no other place in the world could I work on this problem with this quality of people and with kind of clarity without anything distracting us. And so in those 12 months, it took a lot of grit.
That's a big risk.
My parents. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, it's easy. I would say it's easiest for me because I didn't have very much.
Yeah.
Out of college. I didn't have kids, a mortgage, or anything. But
all right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to follow up on that statement, and we're going to say, you finally do pay yourself at some point. What do you buy?
Stick around.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: knowledge is power. We all negotiate from a position of power and strength, or at least we want to. In any negotiation, the party with the most knowledge probably has the upper hand. And landlords count on this being the case whenever you're negotiating a lease, because most landlords are professional real estate investors and they hire professional leasing agents and property managers. Landlords are in the market every day negotiating leases, while tenants probably only negotiate 1, maybe 2 leases every few years. So tenants feel outgunned. Don't let landlords have all the power. As a former landlord for 20 years, I understand how landlords think and what motivates them. So let me put that knowledge and experience to work on your side of the negotiation. To learn more, contact me at texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Have you started making plans to take your business to the next level in 2016? Hi, I'm Stephen Nooner, founder and CEO of Alkali. We have a trademark process called the Empowered Advantage that enables CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs to more effectively buy and manage their insurance. Before sitting down to make your plans for the new year, here are just a few things to consider. Would you say that you have an actual insurance strategy, one that you can articulate, or have you just purchased a policy here and there over the years? If you have an insurance strategy, was it discussed under the pressure of a renewal deadline or considered earlier in the year to avoid fire drill decision making? If your answer was no to either of these questions, then you may not have the right partner on your team. Visit alkaliservices.com to contact us and take the next step to a bigger and better future.
This is Philip Banks, President of Legacy Travel. Mark Twain says you never know if you really like somebody or hate them until you travel with them. I don't want to travel with these guys at the Next Level show.
That's good.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Next Level. We are here with our special guest, Jonathan Van, COO of Technium. If you want to learn more about Jonathan or Technium, please visit technium.com. That's TECHNIUM.com. Did I get that right?
You did.
That's right.
Okay.
Perfect.
He's not good at spelling usually. So. All right. So, Jonathan, I want to follow back up on a couple things. So, your company is acting as this sort of middleman, kind of aggregating the patents.
Yeah, it's a marketplace.
Yeah, it's a
as simple
marketplace.
as a marketplace.
So, how does somebody know you exist? And whenever, what's the tangible way they use this?
Yeah, so how they know we exist, right now we're in private beta. So we work with our group of privately recruited serial entrepreneurs. We're also working with what they call entrepreneur in residence. There's venture capital firms who back proven entrepreneurs that they funded before. They say, well, you got 6 months with nothing on your hands, but we'd really like to invest in whatever you're working on next. So we'll pay you. Just kind of stay around our office and look for new stuff, whether it's stuff they see, stuff you see outside, but we kind of want you around. And
Good for those guys.
yeah, lucky.
How'd you get that job?
It's one of the best jobs in the world. But the most tangible way to look at the marketplace, I know if you go on our website, it might be a little stealth, but when the entrepreneurs go on our website, they'll be able to search for patents by problems, and this is that way for a specific reason. Entrepreneurs typically think about ideas from a solution perspective. What we found is the best entrepreneurs think purely from a problem perspective, mission, accomplish that, get it solved, and they almost think about the solution last. They just want to know what's out there. And so say we have an entrepreneur who's looking for opioid addiction. One of the most prevalent things that's on the radio almost every week, I just turn it on, it's like a huge problem. And serial biotech entrepreneur doesn't really know where the research is, doesn't even know where to start. He poses that problem to us. We'll quickly source and curate all the IP in the space, whether that's from hospitals, from different medical R&D institutions, and it'll quickly populate all the IP that's in the space, who's the top researchers. Then, now he has an idea of who should I contact? Who do I need to license from? Who's the specialist in this area? And now he as the entrepreneur can start putting all the pieces together. Because the biggest value creation in a startup is when you align your team together on one single mission, one common mission. Most of these R&D researchers, inventors, whatever,
They're behind the curtain. Yeah, they're in there.
yeah, they're just working on their own thing by themselves. The entrepreneur's job is to align them towards solving one goal, putting them into milestones.
And monetizing it, right? At the end of the day, that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah, so a good example of this is Juno immunotherapy. They were put together in 12 months. Top researchers at Sloan Kettering, a couple hospitals in Seattle, and they raised $50 million in their Series A, and then they IPO'd 18 months later. That's seriously fast value creation. And that was just with an entrepreneur aligning all the R&D institutions together to solve this problem in a very unique manner.
So we've heard a lot in the media lately about patent trolls. How do they fit into your world?
Yeah, patent trolls are So what's interesting about patent trolls is they are the only version of the marketplace that seems to work in patents.
Wow.
They're a huge problem, but what they provide is liquidity, right? So unlike previous intermediaries, they just buy up the patents super cheap, and then they arbitrage it. So if you're a manager at University of Texas and you say, well, we have these patents and they literally are gathering dust essentially, you can say, well, for 50 or 100,000, we can get them, we can, chalk that up on the books, and the patent trolls can do whatever they want. And so they're the default market maker at this point. Not great, because some people would say they're an innovation tax. They definitely don't care about commercialization. And so that's the biggest difference with us, and why we focus on entrepreneurs first. Serial entrepreneurs right now, but we'd like to open it up, is because entrepreneurs and even small companies focus on getting a product to the market, a service to the market that's of value to the people. And that provides value at exit for the entrepreneur, for the employees, and a benefit to society, instead of just saying, well, you better license this or else. Yeah. And then going into it's just, that kind of stuff pisses me off. I think it pisses everyone else off. And so that's why people ask, how are you different from intellectual ventures? Like, the biggest difference is our strategic focus. We don't focus on infringement. We don't focus on litigation. We just focus on commercialization, or turning that patent or idea into an actual product or service.
The positive side of it.
Yes.
We're going back to a little bit of something we talked right before the break. So you talked about kind of the breakdown a little bit of what happened at the end as you're graduating, and if I'm not mistaken, UT Business School.
Yeah, UT.
So so you have friends probably that you're graduating and are doing pretty well, getting some good starting offers at least, right?
I just visited a friend in Seattle. He gets paid pretty well at Microsoft, so.
They think you're crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's crazy. I'm lucky though. I've been in working with entrepreneurs and mentors since I was a freshman. And so I had a mentor of mine, Brett Hurt. He was the founder of Bizarre Voice in Austin. Graduated from Wharton. So even
Smart
worse than
guy,
my situation than mine. Yeah, super smart. Graduated. All his friends are making $250,000 plus, and he is just making like nothing. So he seemed crazy for about 5 years, and then all of a sudden he was a genius.
So you're counting on that?
That's what I'm counting on. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the hook. The hook just before the break. I said you finally pay yourself. What do you buy?
Oh, what do I buy?
What did you buy?
Oh man, I travel a lot now. So I travel a lot more. So I love fast cars. I'm getting to that. Got to put down a deposit on that Model 3.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to?
I did.
Oh, cool. I almost did.
You just gotta. Well, I'm betting that they'll be super late, so it'll be fine.
Yes. I'll hit your 5-year.
It'll be fine. Yeah, I'll hit the milestone. Oh man, Tesla Model 3. Oh, yeah. Have y'all actually driven in a Model S?
I have not.
It's my dream model. I just need to go in P90D with a friend of mine, just like book it, rock it down the street.
I have a client that has one for sale, by the way. So if you want to use one, let me know.
Maybe we can timeshare it.
It's another business.
We create a market for that, yeah.
It's all right. So what was one of the low points for you in all this journey?
Oh, yeah, bootstrapping is a tough place to be when you're starting up, right? Because you have some distractions. One of the biggest lows was we were supposed to get a contract with one of the largest R&D institutions in the nation to help them with their commercialization process. It's like $1 million plus contract annually. We wrote the RFP with them. They put it out.
Wow.
We ended up losing the RFP.
You're kidding.
No joke. Politics plays a large part in contracting with those institutions, so I understand that. But that was definitely one of the lowest points. I just called my girlfriend, called my mom. It's just like, it's a dark time. But as an entrepreneur, you also have to brush it off, right? You have to wear your armor. You have teams that you have to motivate, keep on track.
Yeah, what did you learn from it? Is the real question.
What did I learn from it? One, if you're going to do those kind of contracts, always have an inside man. So have an inside man trust, and has heavy political hand. That's just, I don't know if this is politically correct to say. It's just the truth. So if you have a lieutenant colonel, if you're going to do military contracts, you have to have someone on the inside who has political play and can be there on a day-to-day kind of basis, because the nudging and the lobbying is just like that. It's definitely a contact sport.
So real early on in our business, when we were getting going, I had a couple of opportunities. I had worked with a publicly traded company and a school district, and I found I hated working with them. I mean, the politics of it was like you could show them something that made complete sense by any stretch of the imagination. It was an absolute no-brainer. The serial entrepreneur pulls a trigger on it without a hesitation. Got it, makes sense, let's go, let's do it. When can we implement it by? It was drug out and commit. I mean, and then at the end, they would make these decisions that weren't even what was best for the employee. I mean, but it was all because someone had something in.
Yep.
It was crazy.
I hate to say it, but so you know how we say A+ players hire A players. In this case, when you're working with those organizations, you have a lot of B players who don't want to bring in A players. And so you're not going to be brought in from the outside unless you have some big sway, because they don't want to look bad. I mean, ultimately you're saying, especially as a third-party contractor, you're saying, well, in-house, y'all can't do a good job, so you should bring us in.
Right.
Yeah.
And so ultimately that's just what it is. The gatekeepers are the gatekeepers, and it sucks, but...
Okay, let's shift for a second. I'm really interested in your ideas for entrepreneurs on fundraising and appropriate times for dilution of their equity.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on that?
So my philosophy goes two ways. One, I would tell entrepreneurs always, especially disciplined entrepreneurs, to raise as little as possible to get to your next milestone. Because the biggest flaw companies make or founders make is fundraising when you're not ready. Is fundraising when you're like in the middle of something, you haven't hit you're like this bridge round, whatever. That's probably the worst time to fundraise. The best time to fundraise is probably when you don't even mean to. Some of the companies that fundraised in the Alta Ventures portfolio that I got to witness put out a press release, got on Fortune, and had like the top 10 VCs calling them. That's when you want to fundraise. But caveat is, I would also fundraise early on if that means you get to focus on your mission all in. You have a team of 5-6 people all in on the mission, getting to your milestone. And even if that takes 25% dilution, I would take the opportunity.
And that's the big if, right? Because I hear the opposite a lot of times, that where they get the wrong VC in and they feel completely owned and taken off mission. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah. So, I mean, your job as a founder is to navigate that, right? Is to just like the investor due diligence is you. You should due diligence your investors. It's why coming from a VC background, I've seen both sides of the table. So I due diligence my investors the same way they would do us. You ask for referrals. You talk to all their portfolio companies. What was it like working with them? Did they deviate you from your path? And ultimately, hopefully, you're both on the same mission of unlocking the most value for your shareholders, right? I know this is not a public thing, but ultimately you should be aligned. And I've seen founders get kicked out. They probably should have been. And I've seen the opposite, where investors will just take it because the founders really have the best vision for the company. But I would take the dilution early on, not controlling, if possible.
All right, in 30 seconds, what do you look like 3 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, so the way our company is structured is we take like little pieces of every company. So if we do some liquidations, man, I'm going to be flying high.
Have that S3 or maybe.
I don't need the Model 3 anymore. I'm going to get that P90D or whatever is like the next level. And you'll see me flying out there on like to Big Sur, going to conferences. I'll be a conference ho or whatever. But no, I mean, honestly, I love the grind. Like 3 years from now, I might have more money, but I'm always going to be day to day.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. And Jonathan, thank you for coming. Audience, thanks for listening. If anyone heard something that was of interest, or you know someone that needs to hear this story, please find us on Facebook, nextlevelshow.com. Spread the word. And also you can find them at technium.com, technium.com.
You can reach me directly at jvan, J-V like Victor, A-N, at technium.com.
See ya.
Have a great week.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.